Hey there. I have a cold, and my voice has dropped significantly. So all of a sudden I have a somewhat different sound. Michelle sent me a couple of inks by private reserve, and among them there was one that I already owned. But that's okay, because you benefit. Today we will be covering private reserve Shoreline Gold. Why do you benefit? Well, the bottle is pretty much full, and you can win it. I explain how you can win it during the video, so if you want to win it, you'll have to watch. Comments go below. Okay, what we have here is an orange ink. It is orange and it shades nicely. It is a bit like Apache Sunset, except it's sort of like Apache Sunset on Xanax. It's a little bit toned down, but I still like the ink a lot. You know these bottles, probably private reserve, they're like little jelly bottles filled with ink. It's 50 milliliters. A little bit was taken out, but it's really almost full, so there's a lot of ink in there. I like the ink, and well, if you want it, check out the video, see what you have to do to win it. I hope this is going to be useful, entertainable, and enjoyable, and I will see you later. Bye bye. Okay, boys and girls, it's time to have a look at private reserve Shoreline. Gold. Let us start with a fine nib. I'm trying not to talk too much here, although I hear my voice is more interesting like this. Then medium. Maybe with my voice being a bit lower than usual, this would be the ideal movie guy impersonation setup, huh? In the summer, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It's always in the summer, you know. I guess that sounds more interesting. In the winter, snow was falling. The quick brown fox was no longer brown. Or something. It's not the same. Broad nibbage. Over the L, dog. I'm sorry, it won't fit otherwise. Bear with me. Italic. The lazy dog. There we go. I don't have a fever, don't worry. Flex nib. Foxy dog. Okay. Let us start with a couple of passes. 1, 2, 3. And while we're at it, we should do us some fat writing. For some reason I like the letter S. S for Shoreline. S for super juicy nib. There we go. Then a bit of medium writing. Tally-ho. You'll have to forgive my occasional sniffing and coughing and that kind of stuff. I do have a cold, as you've noticed. Shoreline Gold. I'm preparing. Let's do some tests. How about that? There's a moment you've all been waiting for. The Tardif test. Which should give an idea of shading. And then there is the brown benchmark. Now, unfortunately, last week I did the ultimate brown benchmark, which means that whatever I do now, it's always going to be a disappointment. Therefore, I thought I would take a couple of safety measures this week. Last week was a bit hectic, you see. When you do something, there can be no second thoughts. You must do it well. I have now buffered myself. I don't want to get ink all over me. I'm prepared. I have an eyedropper. We have ink. That is more than enough ink. I am holding up part of this towel to shield myself, because there's going to be a lot of ink. And now it's time for a brown benchmark. I miss! Bloody hell, I miss! It's impossible. I am retarded. Sorry. Let's try again. There we go. Much, much better. And fortunately, with this towel protection system, I still have a bit of benchmark here and there. But it is not on me, nor on my desk. Good. Excellent. I'm just cleaning up some final bits there, and I really want to find the lid of my ink bottle, because it's one of those huge private reserve bottles, and unfortunately I can't find it. Here we go, here we go. I am taxing your patience. I am sorry. Please bear with me. I think we can do a third pass, because it's a relatively quite fast drying ink. There we go, third pass. Then we have to do some further tests. Let's grab the eyedropper of death. As well as the bastard brush. Brush very well. A bit of green stuff on there. Let's wait and see what happens. Now I want to do some interim checking out of stuff. That's the scientific term for looking at things. I see quite some shading. I see an orange, I see shading, and I like that shading. It's fairly extensive. You see that here, even in just one pass, you go from what is almost yellow to a darker orange. Very nice. Let's try to get rid of some of the water there. The ink has, well, it's still very legible, I would say. And the same goes for the writing there. It suffered a bit there, but this is still fairly legible. I'm not sure how well the camera picks that up, but I can definitely still read that writing, which is good. Okay, well, then we have the Tardif test. Again, you see nice shading, and the brown benchmark, which was missed the first time, and yet I hit the second time. I think that gives you a nice idea of the shading that's going on. Okay, let us start working on a scorecard. What we have is cleaning. I'm willing to give that full marks. I've never had any issues with cleaning out this ink. Bleed through. We'll have to check that later. Then we have color, which is definitely orange. We have shading. Well, you know what? I'm going to give that full marks. It's not a patchy sunset, but it's definitely a very nice shader. Flow, I would say, is very good. Feathering, we'll have to check out later. We have drying time, which seems to be pretty good. I have no problems with it. Okay, that's already dry. That's still a bit wet. That's pretty much dry. Yeah, I'm quite impressed there. And then we have waterproofness, which is not perfect, but it's definitely good. You can see that parts of the tally have actually suffered quite a bit, but this hole is still there. The hole is still there. Let's not think about that remark. I'm going to switch papers. Oh, don't tear it in half. I'm going to wipe off my Rhodia pad. There was benchmark all over it. I'm going to go back to that paper later, but for now, let us have a look at this paper. Okay, copier paper. Where's my little shield? Here we go. End. The journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. The grey rain curtain. This world rolls back. And all turns to silver glass. And then you see it. White shores and beyond, a far green country. Under a swift sunrise. That doesn't sound too bad. No. No, it doesn't. One of my favorite movie quotes from The Lord of the Rings. If you are interested in winning this ink, I want to read your favorite movie quote from The Lord of the Rings. I'm not talking about The Hobbit. Strictly speaking, I'm not talking about the books. I'm talking about the movie. The movies. You have the trilogy. This is my #1 quote. And it's white shores and not shoreline gold, but you probably see the relation. It doesn't have to be related to gold. It doesn't have to be related to shores. It doesn't have to be related to anything. your favorite quote. I will pick a winner at random. That's how you enter this contest. And you will win this. Okay? Boom shakalaka. Let's do some final writing. I had only one fear when I heard that they were going to make The Hobbit into movies. And that was that Sir Ian McKellen would not play Gandalf. The rest I couldn't really care about, but this man is Gandalf. That would have broken my heart. Anyway, I think we're pretty much done here. Fine, medium, broad, italic. Flex! Yeah, flex. Oh. Well, well, well. Fine benchmark. Very fast benchmark. Okay, we need to finish up our scorecard. Let's check out feathering. Seeing real feathering, a little bit there, but it's not very pronounced. I'm quite impressed. Even with the very fat writing, you definitely see some weird bits, but it's not excessive feathering, even where it's very wet like there. So I'm quite impressed with the feathering. Bleed through. It's not too bad. I mean, there's definitely some in the broad. Definitely some in the italic. Medium is okay. Fine is okay. That was startup. Fat writing obviously bleeds through. Okay, what about Rhodia? Rhodia, excuse me. Rhodia seems to be pretty much okay when it comes to bleed through. But there's definitely bleed through in the copier paper. So, pen, here we go. Scorecard. Bleed through, I would say, is a 2 out of 3 at best. And feathering, I'm going to give it a 1. Because there was almost no feathering, even with very wet writing. I've seen a lot worse recently. Which means that we have an inkage score of 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, which is very high. Now, what I want to show you is a triple ink comparison. And I thought about whether or not I should do that, but I decided to do so anyway. So what we have here is Private Reserve Shoreline Gold. If you buy it now, or if you win that bottle, this is what you get, okay? I also want to show you the old formulation. The old formula, the old, what it used to look like. And as you can see, that is a significantly different ink. It wasn't orange, it was brown. Sven sent me a sample of this. He loved it. He likes to put this in his M1000, and it's a great match. I think this is much closer to Shoreline Gold than the orange is. I mean, when I think of Shoreline, I think of this, not of that. Now, finally, I'd like to show you something that is a very interesting one. I didn't have that in a flex pen. I just happened to have that in this italic nib, Visconti. Apache Sunset. You'll probably see why I picked this. I remember once, at some point, someone said, I'm just going to compare that to the italic nib. So this would be PR, Shoreline Gold. I remember once a fountain pen expert told me, Shoreline Gold is the poor man's Apache Sunset. Well, it's a nice enough ink, but she has a bit of a point, right? You see the difference. You see the very nice shading of the Apache Sunset, which is just... Apache Sunset is the queen of the shade. It's that simple. Private Reserve Shoreline Gold is not bad. It has very nice shading too, but once you compare it to Apache Sunset, you see that's a much more intense ink. But, you know, both inks have their purpose. Apache Sunset shades excessively. Private Reserve is a bit more restrained, which can also be useful in some contexts. So, I'll tell you what. This was the Inkcyclopedia entry for Private Reserve Shoreline Gold. I hope this was useful. I hope my voice and sniffing wasn't too distracting. I hope you are going to win that bottle, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.